Hello and welcome to Fintech Focus TV. I'm Toby and delighted to be joined today by Tom Higgins from Goldeye. Tom, how are you?
Very good, nice to meet you.
Great to come. Great to have you over here. Listen, well done. You have made again the list of the most influential fintechs of 2019. You're in the top 20. This comes off the back of Goldeye winning the Ultimate Fintech Workplace Awards that we hosted at the end of last year as well. So it's been a good run for you guys. It's a brilliant company, and we've known you guys for a while now. But for those of you who haven't, or those people there who haven't heard a little bit from you so far, tell us a little bit about what Goldeye does.
Yes, so we are a software development company. We've been going for 10 years now, which is really exciting. We just had our 10th birthday party.
Congratulations.
And we operate, yeah, thanks a lot. And we operate in the FX and CFD and now cryptocurrency space. So we're like the glue that connects all of the different providers together. So the retail brokers, the liquidity providers, the risk management systems, the back office systems. We connect all that together with our Matrix platform, which is a liquidity aggregation tool, and then provide all of the applications and the functionality around that all of these different participants need.
Yeah, and it's been a really interesting time for the business. And as you say, I think one of the features of Goldeye over the last 10 years is that sort of spread in terms of what you've been doing. You mentioned crypto at the moment being an interesting area for you guys to have diversified into. You've spread globally as well, and I think we've discussed this before. You do quite a lot of work out in Asia as well at the moment, and seeing continued growth out there. Tell us a little bit about the diversification of the business and the story around that.
Yeah, well, it's changed dramatically from when I started. I remember when I opened the doors of the business, it was a very small office in Guildford. It was just me sitting at a desk thinking, what should I do now? I don't have any clients, I don't have any software, I don't have anything. And so that's quite a difficult place to start from. But we managed to find a client who wanted a bit of work, so we managed to write that software, me, and then gradually recruited more people and got better people over time. And we started really actually in the back office integration and then moved quite quickly into pre-trade order management. So that was for MetaTrader platform, which was the predominant platform then and still is extremely dominant now today. And then we extended and moved from individual products into a whole platform, which is our Matrix platform. And that now has become the key thing that we build everything on top of. So everything sits on top of Matrix. So our analytics tools sit on top of Matrix. Our crypto integration sits on top of Matrix for our crypto switch product, and all our liquidity connections come through the Matrix platform. So it's our growth tool today and also going forward.
Yeah, you mentioned something interesting there about getting better and better people as you developed as a business. And if I look at the traits of many of the companies that are in here, as I say, there's a load of people who the judges looked at. It was narrowed down to a sort of an elite crew, and the top 20 was even more elite than that. And so if you look at some of the core areas, they're looking at technology areas that are really important. There's some considerable buzz around, which I think you guys tick the box of. It's about having a leadership team with a clear strategy, and I think that's been a real key part of what you do. But I also think culture and quality of people is one of the fundamental building blocks behind high growth businesses in the space, and businesses that are particularly outperforming the competition at the moment. You've put a big and very clear focus on the environment of your business and the people who you bring into it, and you focus very much on the culture of the company. Explain a little bit more about Goldeye's special culture and why it's become such a good place to work.
I mean, the culture is absolutely key to a business, and we've got rid of people who were technically very good but couldn't work in a team and couldn't accept the culture of the company. And they just jarred with everybody because they just couldn't fit, they couldn't work together, and that's really important. So when we recruit on values first, and we want everybody to fit. I mean, one of our values is wear the loud shirt, and I am wearing the loud shirt. I always do.
That.
And that the staff came up with that as one of our values because it really sort of personifies what it's about. And what it means is go out there, do more, don't be afraid to do things that might be wrong. Because if you don't try things, you'll never do anything new. So we're really very much about innovation, trying new things and going in directions that may be wrong. We were absolutely set that crypto was going to be the biggest thing in the world by now. It hasn't been because of the bear market in cryptos. But we're still sticking in there because I think something will come of it. We'll go down lots of different avenues, some of which will come up trumps and some of which won't come up trumps. And you need to do that all the time. You need to try lots of different things. And I think that's really the heart of what we are. The way the company has developed from a management structure has also changed right from the beginning. I didn't really know a great deal about running a tech company before I started. I'd always worked in in the actual companies, brokerages, and, not banks, but companies that use technology rather than sold technology.
Yeah.
And so I learned a lot through Vistage, actually, through the CEOs group that I'm a member of, that you're partner with. That you need to have a strong management, and you need to employ people better than you all the time, and you need to never ever be afraid to delegate something down. So I used the approach from the beginning, and I still do today, which is employ someone better than you, coach them in the things that you know that they don't know, and then let them off the leash to do their own thing. And really don't tell them what to do. Tell them where you want to go, and then they will take you there. And we've always done that, and we do that all the time. You empower people a lot, and it really makes an enormous difference. It means I can come here and do this and not worry about what's going on back at the ranch. And I know that they'll be doing the right thing, and I can completely and utterly trust them. They then have to be able to do that one level down to their staff, which again for some young managers is quite difficult to do. They find it hard to delegate initially.
Absolutely.
They just think, well, what if they can't do it as well as I can do it? And you have to get them to you've got to trust, and you're right, the first time they probably won't do it as well. But then fairly soon, if you've employed the right people, they'll do it better than you. And then don't worry about that, that's good. Just keep employing people that are better than you, and if you do that all the way through, you get a really strong culture. So what we've developed there is a very good culture where people like working in the company. It's a nice environment. People don't want to leave. So we have incredibly high retention rates, and we're very lucky that we're in Guildford as well, in a beautiful environment. We've got 2 lakes and lots of grass around us, and it's just a really lovely place to be, and people really like that.
Was that your original consideration? Because I know you're from down that. Was it literally because it's close to you, or was there also the thought there that actually you could have access to a different talent pool if you weren't based in London?
I'd be lying if I said that was the case. I was sitting on the train commuting up to London with all of the other sheep thinking, I wish I could just get out of the rat race and just do something different. How could I do that and not have to commute every day to London? So I found an office in Guildford that was 5 minutes from where we lived, and we used to live in Guildford. And I thought that was fantastic that I could get there so quickly and get home quickly. And take the children to school. We have 4 children. I want to take them to school, collect them from school, see them, as much as I wanted to. We've employed people who've left banks because they said they didn't even know they had children, they hadn't seen them at all. And so we've got people who take their children to school now that they didn't see them, and they absolutely love the environment. They love it. It's the importance of a work-life balance is so key now. It's so much not about money being the driver. It's so much about work-life balance and having a meaningful job to go to where people do something that is valuable to them. And that's what I've always believed in, and I just let that permeate through the.
I think that was a key theme actually of the previous awards. I know we're talking about the definitive list today, but I think it feeds very much into it. And when we were talking to the judges about the reasons why, it was people drives excellent products, and excellent products are based off having environments there where people can develop and build those things through. Lots of interesting things you touched on previously there. But particularly that thing about the middle management and lower management, being able to empower people and being able to to have that confidence to say make the mistakes and get on with it. And I think that's been very much part of your culture. Another area that I'm very interested that you touched on there as well was the whole crypto world, because it has yo-yoed between the next big thing straight away through to maybe it's not quite as cut and dry as people thought to, and I sense there's a little bit of a rise coming back in at the moment in the market. We sit here in just about pushing March in 2019. Do you see 2019 being another good year or a good year for crypto again, or do you see the continued sort of fragility around what's happening in the market?
Well, it's changed, so it's not going to continue the way it was before. So a year and a half ago, when you saw the massive rise of Bitcoin, and ton of investors piling in. Well, they're not really investors, speculators piling
ICOs,
in.
left, right,
Yeah,
centre,
all that sort of stuff going on. Piling in, joining Coinbase. I think they had 100,000 accounts added a day or something because the price was just going up. And on one of the exchange's websites, it said the way you should invest in this is you should just buy Bitcoin every single day. That's your investment strategy. That's extraordinary and not very long term. So the retail involvement, the man on the street involvement in cryptocurrencies is gone in the way that it was. And that's good because it was just completely non-sustainable. What is happening now, and we are seeing absolute strong movement in this, is institutional involvement in cryptocurrencies. So JP Morgan introducing the JP coin, which they always said they would never have anything to do with cryptocurrencies, and then they introduced the JP coin. A lot of institutions, fund managers, hedge funds all want to be involved in this as an asset class because they want an asset class that they can use to trade and their clients want to trade it. So it's just another asset class, but it does behave slightly differently. So we are seeing cryptocurrency exchanges that are institutional grade using fixed protocol, which is the standard industry protocol, rather than web protocols, which is the noddy protocols that you wouldn't really use on a high performance proper exchange. So we're seeing these proper exchanges, a bit like a traditional futures exchange, coming about with proper technology, a lot of good money behind them and sensible strategies. We're seeing that appear. OTC block trading in cryptos as well, very large movement in that too. If you want to trade large sizes, you currently do it on the telephone, or you try and do it on an exchange and it doesn't work. So the exchanges are adding OTC block trading so you can trade large sizes through RFQs like you would have done in equities in the RSP world. So that is the big change that's coming. You may start seeing some retail people coming off the back of that, but I don't think that's the big push. So the hundreds and hundreds, I think something like 500 retail cryptocurrency exchanges now, the vast majority of those will disappear and you'll see mergers coming together and proper exchanges coming out of the back of it. This is being led from Japan and the States. A lot of market makers in the States. I'm going out to Chicago and New York quite soon to meet all of them. We're working with all of them now with our CryptoSwitch product. But in Japan, that's the main area for our clients. We've got 4 clients we're working with there now, 2 very large ones. I can't say who they are because it's all secret. But 2 very large ones who are working with us for integrating with the market makers for offering cryptos to their clients on an institutional basis. So big change this year is the institutional versus the retail.
And you're very much at the centre of that. Where do you think you guys can add value?
We sit in 2 camps. We sit in the pure crypto camp, which a lot of the Japanese companies are. They're not doing FX and CFDs, they're just doing cryptocurrency trading. And we sit in the FX and CFD camp that we came from, that we live in. And there are 2 different ecosystems, 2 different sets of clients, 2 different sets of liquidity providers, market makers, technologies involved. And we put the 2 together. So we can provide technology to both. But what's interesting is we can bring those 10 million retail customers that operate in FX and CFDs to access the crypto market in Japan and the pure crypto players, and we can bring those pure crypto players and say, why don't you also trade other asset classes? Because if you want something that's got some volatility, that's got a price and is going up and down, which is generally what they want, why not look at the FX and CFD market as well? So we can bridge those 2 together. And we've got such a lot of experience in both sides of it. And also my background is actually in futures trading, and I've worked for the Futures Exchange and the International Petroleum Exchange, so I know how real proper exchanges work and how important they are, the strength of an exchange. And bringing all that knowledge together, I think we have a very, very strong offering.
And it gives people opportunities. It gives people diversity again in terms of what they can do.
Yeah, because if you go to an FX and CFD broker today, you can't just be a vanilla FX and CFD broker, sit there and make money, lots of money like they used to. You have to work an awful lot harder. We all have to work an awful lot harder, but they have to work really hard. The regulations, the ESMA regulations, have really squashed the European market. Not so much in Asia, but that'll probably be coming. So the European brokers have to do an awful lot more. Give them another asset class that they can risk manage and trade properly, that they're not booking all the time and just potentially losing a ton of money, as happened before. Give them one asset class that they can offer to their clients, trade properly, risk manage properly, offer out as they would any other asset class. It's another revenue stream for them, and it's a good thing to add.
And you've also mentioned a little bit of globalisation. If you say you're talking about Chicago and New York. I know you've just come back from Hong Kong, and I think you spent some time in Tokyo as well. Pre-Christmas, you're in Australia, so
Yeah.
so a genuine globetrotter these days. the 5-minute commute to Guildford, a pipe dream of the past. Tell us what, hugely exciting, and it's been wonderful to see that sort of growth of Golda over the 10 years. But tell us what's happening this year. What are the key things to look out for on your horizon this year?
Well, it's three things. It's Asia, Asia, and Asia, really. That's where it is all happening.
Yeah.
That's where all the business is. That's where all the growth is. That's why we opened our Australian office, because we wanted to serve the Asia-Pac market, and it was really a choice of Singapore or Sydney. Singapore tends to be more institutional. Sydney tends to be more retail brokers and touching on institutional.
Yeah.
So we decided that we just felt a bit more comfortable operating in Sydney. It's very like London operating.
Yeah.
Singapore is different, and I don't really know it very well. So
Yeah.
I felt more comfortable going to Sydney. So we opened an office there. We've got one person there now, and we're adding that to that all the time. We've got 3 more joining shortly.
Wow.
So that will be our hub for selling into Asia.
Yeah.
Not China. China's a specific, its own thing.
Yeah.
And supporting locally as well, because it's really important for that market that we have local support in Australia and for the countries around there.
Yeah.
China, I say, is a separate thing, because we started our Chinese office about 3 years ago, and that is for serving the Chinese market. We did think at the time that we could serve other Asian countries from China, but you can't really.
Yeah.
China generally works with China.
Yeah.
You can't really, it doesn't really work very well. And so from there, we have quite a few Chinese clients, and we serve them very well. And we're really the only vendor in our space that has proper sales and support in China, in Shanghai, where we have all of our staff. And that works really well. They also cover our clients in our nighttime here in the UK and in Europe, as well as Australia covering that.
Yeah.
As we build up the staff, the support staff in Australia from what we have at the moment, we'll start doing more coverage from Australia, so that we can cover it with Australia and China. You never know what's going to happen in China. It's always a risk.
Yeah, yeah.
The regulators the government could just shut things down at any time, and so you can never really be comfortable quite what's going to happen there.
Yeah.
So Australia is a much more comfortable presence for us for our Asia plans.
Well, it's an exciting opportunity, Australia full stop, isn't it? I
Yeah,
think we've been looking into it ourselves recently, and I think their sort of growth in tech is phenomenal at the moment. Their access to talent is pretty strong, although there's obviously restrictions around the visas these days in certain areas. But I think the whole strategy of serving Asia from Australia is going to be something which we see a development, and we're seeing more and more of that sort of thing in the FS space coming up as well.
Yeah, it's a different culture to the UK today. It's a bit like it was here 6 or 7 years ago.
Yeah.
Everything is very relationship based.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't sell there using a database and approaching people through outbound marketing and find them.
Yeah.
You'd go and have a beer with them.
Yeah.
They still drink beer at lunchtime and in the afternoons.
Yeah.
So it's a bit like London.
Doesn't sound Australian.
Yeah. Can you believe they would do that? It's a little bit like when I started working in the city in the late 80s.
Yeah.
Except that was much worse. They're very professional. But also they understand the importance of having that work-life balance, and they will go to the beach, because in Sydney you've got a working area that's like the city, and then you've got the beach next door.
Yeah.
It's very nice.
Yeah, no, it sounds. But I saw your LinkedIn videos of the time there. It looked terribly hard work.
It was. Yes, I think I had a drink in my head, a beer in my head every single time.
Most of the times, it sounded fun.
Yeah, it was. It was good.
So look, we can expect big things then. Asia being a focus of it. Obviously, lots of stuff coming back here in the UK for you, as well as the business continues to grow. It's fascinating watching it. I'm so pleased that you guys are doing so well as well, because it's a lovely company and a good business to work with. As a final piece, who should be talking to you at the moment?
So this year and next year, our focus is expanding into much more institutional place. So today, we're mostly selling to retail brokers and cryptocurrency exchanges and cryptocurrency brokers. We are starting to sell to liquidity providers more and more. We started that last year. So this year, we will be selling more and more to liquidity providers, prime of primes, using our matrix services, our matrix net liquidity distribution tools. And then going forward from that, we're going up the stack and moving towards market making type services, and also prime broker services going out a few years' time. That's the direction that we're going in. we're not dropping the retail broker stuff, we're adding an additional product set on around there, all built around the Matrix and the Matrix Net product suite.
Brilliant. And how do they get in touch with you?
So they can go to our website, www.goldeye.com. You can find me on LinkedIn. Just look for Tom Higgins on LinkedIn. You'll see lots of videos of me in Australia and all around the world.
One or two.
And you'll find me there.
Brilliant. Well, listen, lovely to see you. Thanks so much.
Nice to see you too.
Good
Thanks
luck
very
with
much.
everything this year. Thanks to all of you for watching, and we'll see you on another episode of Fintech Focus TV very soon. Thanks for watching.
Thank you. Bye-bye.